ELD mandate is looming. The rates have not gone up. Carriers will be less profitable once they start running the ELDs because they just can't run as far, and they just can't milk as many hours out of their drivers as they used to. As a result, the carrier's profit will be down. So who are the carriers going to look to offset this financial loss when the ELDs come in? Anybody got a guess? Of course they're going to look at the drivers. The drivers will be subsidizing the loss of the carrier. And that's just, you know what's going to happen, it's just wrong. The carrier already steals money from the drivers. And this is just going to get worse now with these ELDs coming in. It's not bad enough that the average guy can make $700 or $800 a week in construction, clear and be home every night and every weekend, as compared to a company truck driver who makes $700 or $800 a week and is gone all the time, works 70 to 90 hours a week, has a 34-hour weekend, which he doesn't spend at home. He spends it for the most part in a parking lot in a truck stop somewhere. If that's not bad enough already the way it is, now carriers are going to be looking at new ways to scam the drivers to offset the loss from the electronic logs. You know, I love truck driving, but I hate being cheated and I hate being lied to. And that's my problem with some of these big carriers. They use the drivers as a source of income. And here's a good example of this. Overtime for truck drivers. Someone mentioned to me the other day that the overtime issue still isn't resolved. And that's true. There are some good carriers out there, including the ones that I work, or the one that I work for, that pays overtime. I'm paid by the hour now, and I'm paid overtime after 40 hours. Here in Canada, it's law to pay over-the-road drivers, any truck drivers, overtime. Now, it's calculated in different ways depending on the carrier in the province, whether the carrier is federally or provincially regulated. But the bottom line is, they're all supposed to be paying overtime. It's mandated by law. But it's just a fight to get most of these carriers to do that. In the United States, truck drivers are governed by the Fair Labor Standards Act. However, wouldn't you know it, truck drivers are exempt from that act because ultimately they're governed by the Secretary of Transportation in the U.S. That being said, however, as it turns out, truck drivers are still subject to the laws of the various states in which they are operating, and states like California are taking these trucking companies to task over paying their drivers overtime. And that's why these big lawsuits have been so successful in California against the mega carriers like Walmart, FedEx, Swift, KLLM, just to name a few. All these carriers are losing these lawsuits and having to pay their drivers overtime and back overtime from previous years. It's costing them hundreds of millions of dollars. But you know what? Those court challenges take a lot of money and a lot of years. Here in Canada, that lawsuit against Canada Cartage has been going on since 2013 for drivers trying to settle for their overtime that they're owed. And it still hasn't gone to court. They're in the discovery stage now. So they won't be in court for another year anyway. The bottom line here, I guess, is the truck drivers, good truck drivers, are leaving the trucking industry by the thousands. And no wonder when they can't be fairly paid. They work long, hard hours, and the majority of these trucking companies are cheating these drivers. What truck driver wants to work for a company that's going to cheat them out of money? I can't imagine anyone wanting to work for a carrier like that, knowing the carrier is deliberately cheating them out of money. And that's the problem I have with the whole thing. Truck drivers should be paid overtime pay as the law mandates. But these trucking companies continue to dodge it whenever possible. The company I work for now pays me by the hour and pays me overtime. And that's how it should be. I don't understand why anybody anymore would want to drive for one of these mega carriers that cheats their drivers when there are good trucking companies out there that treat their people well. If you're going to drive for a living, you work an awful lot of hours through the course of your life. It behooves you to work for a good outfit that's going to pay you fairly. You're going to spend most of your life working. Why lose tens of thousands of dollars over the course of your career just because the carrier can get away with cheating you? Don't do it. Don't work for them. Drivers, watch your paychecks. Observe the way you do business and who you work for. It's all money and it's all yours. It counts in the end. Until the next time, drive safely, keep the rubber side down, and I'll see you on the back haul.